Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Wolfman Gardening Channel. Today, I just kind of want to go over the 3 garden soils that I use, whether we're seeding, whether we're potting up, or putting them in a bigger container. I only really use 3 types of soil in this whole process before it goes to the garden. Now, in my raised bed, it's a little bit different, but that's a little different subject. But as far as the seeding, as far as the transplants when we pot them up, all the way to the point where we put them into the garden or we put them in a pot, this is the 3 types of soils. Here we go. All right, here we go. Here's our 3 types of soils that I use in my garden. When we first start out, we're going to use the seeding mix, and I'll show a picture of it here. This is not the only style seeding mix, but this is the one that I have the most luck with. It's readily available at almost any store, and nothing but, all it is peat moss, pretty much. It's got very little perlite, a little bit of vermiculite in it, but other than that, it's pretty much just peat moss. Now you can buy bags of peat moss and do the same thing. Like I said, this is not just the only way to do it, this is the way I do it. Oh, but if you'll notice, it's fairly dry. And you see the water just kind of sits up on top of it. So if you don't pre-moisten your soil, a lot of times you have a hard time getting this stuff. I mean, look at it, it's just going to run right off the top. It takes it a little bit to actually soak in. Compared to our garden soil, it's just going to soak right in on it. And with the potting mix, same thing, soaks up, does good. This here, that's why I always tell you when you're starting your seeds, it's really important to make sure that you moisten the soil. Pour it out into a bucket, anything you want, it doesn't matter. Then add a little bit of water to it. This is on a low scale. You'd have to have quite a bit more water if you're actually doing it in a bigger pot. And you're just going to mix it in like so. Then where you can form a ball with it. Now then, if you'll notice the same moisture, now then when we go to add water to it, now that it's pre-moistened, now when you add water to it, look at it, it just soaks right in. So, but anyway, that's the seed starting mix we use on 90% of our seeds that we're using. Then, whenever the seedlings emerge and they start growing and we get ready to transplant them, and we transplant them into our pot, and I'll show you a picture on the screen here as well. This is the potting soil that I use. Now there's a difference between potting soil and potting mix. Note the mix, that means that there's a lot more mixed in there with it. Now the reason we move them up to a potting soil, and you can see right here, it's a rich nutrient soil, and we've already pre-moistened, should make a ball. But like I said, when you squeeze it, if water comes out, then you need to add more soil. It doesn't need to pack hard, or it shouldn't be that moist. But this moisture, the reason we graduate them into pots and use this soil here actually has nutrients that are added that the seedling needs to grow. This potting mix, like I said, it's just peat moss, vermiculite, and perlite. It doesn't have any, unless you find some that has the mix in it that says that it has nutrients. But for the most part, your seed starting mix is not going to have any nutrients in it. So once they graduate to this here, then once they grow out of this here, that's when we take them and we'll transplant them straight into the garden. Now if we're going to put them in grow bags like we did our potatoes, we use the potting mix. And the potting mix, if you can see here, it's got a lot of stuff added to it. It's got little wood chunks in there. It's a mixture of mostly wood chunks, peat moss, a little bit of garden soil, and it's the consistency of it. Still makes a ball, still moist, but all this stuff here will actually hold the moisture a little bit and keep your containers from drying out. And that's why a lot of people use this in their container mix, in their container gardens. That's the reason why we used it in our seed potato bags. Is this right here will hold the moisture a little longer and won't lose the moisture as much. And this also has a lot of nutrients in it as well. So that's kind of the difference between your seed starting mix and it's like, there's our seed starting mix, there's our garden soil, and right there would be our potting mix. So those are the only three things that I use whenever I'm doing my seed starts or transplanting. That's the only three that I need. Now, like I said, you can do whatever you want. There's a lot more out there. These are just the three that I use and I have a lot of success with. And that's it. That's a wrap. Like, comment, share. Think about subscribing to the channel. And also hit that little bell notification and you'll get notified every time I put a new video out. And like always, keep it growing.